Hey, what's going on YouTube? Gary here, gzduel, here to bring you guys the deck profile of my Gravekeeper deck that I've been playing over the past few days. I've been testing out with it on DevPro as well as on Dueling Network, and I'm very happy with the results actually. What I first thought was one of the weaknesses of Gravekeeper, I actually kind of fixed. So I'll talk about that situation right there, but first let me get into the deck profile for you guys really quickly. For the monsters, we have Gravekeeper Assailant, 3 Gravekeepers Commandant, 3 Gravekeepers Descendant, 3 Gravekeepers Recruiter, and 3 Gravekeepers Spy. For text, we have 2 Malefic Stardust Dragon and 2 Summoner Monks. For spells, we have a Allure of Darkness, a Dark Hole, 2 Gravekeeper Steel, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 3 Necro Valley, 2 Pot of Duality, 2 Royal Tributes. For traps, we have 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 2 Dimension Prison, 2 Mirror Force, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, and 1 Starlight Road. For the extra deck, we have 2 Stardust Dragons, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Diamondara Wolf, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Gem Knight Pearl, 1 Maestroke, 1 Shockmaster, 1 Leviathan Dragon, 1 Acid Golem, 1 Black Ship of Corn, 1 Master Key Beetle, and this card is like really awesome, and also 1 Crazy Box. This card is pretty good too, 1 Vylon de Sigma, and 1 Zemmains. Okay, for the side deck, we have 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, 2 Maxi, 2 Thunder King Ryo, 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance, 2 Dex Devastation Virus, and 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Okay, so first I want to talk about the weakness that I've found while playing Gravekeepers. I found that, Gravekeepers, without enough back row support, they really aren't that fast. They have to the power play of the deck is if you set Spy, they attack into your Spy, you flip up Spy, and you get to special summon an extra Gravekeeper monster. That extra Gravekeeper monster really helps move the deck so that you'll have like a tribute material like Recruiter for Descendant's effect, or you can get Descendant and then summon Recruiter and destroy cards, search the deck for Commandant, all that shenanigans. But other than that, if you just have like these Gravekeeper monsters, if you draw a whole hand of Gravekeepers Descendant and also Gravekeepers Recruiters, you're actually in a bad situation because you'll just have to summon 1 monster at a turn, and your opponent can spam Synchro Summon, Exceed Summon, do whatever they want, and so you really can't compete with the deck just simply by playing Gravekeepers. So how do you solve that problem? You solve that problem by adding some free special summonable monsters like Malefic Stardust Dragon. Malefic Stardust Dragon is a good tech because it's a EEV target, it is a deck dev virus target. It's also good in the sense that it protects your Necro Valley. Malefic Stardust Dragon has that inherent effect where the face-up field card currently on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects. So, Malefic Stardust is a really good tech. On top of that, we try to solve the problem of speed by using Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is good in a lot of ways. It allows you to tutor basically all of these Gravekeeper monsters except for Gravekeeper's Recruiter. So if you needed a extra Descendant, in order to use the Descendant's effect to tribute a Gravekeeper monster you already have on the field and destroy a card, that's possible with Summoner Monk. If you need to special summon out Gravekeeper's Assailant, that's also possible, but you'll just have to wait an extra turn because you can't attack with that monster for that turn, I think. For that turn, okay. And if you side in things like Kaiku, if you side in things like Thunder King Ryo, so if you draw into one of these guys, one of these Summoner Monks, it's equivalent to you, as long as you have a spell, it's equivalent to you drawing into a Kaiku or drawing into a Thunder King. So if you were facing up against Prophecies and you have a Summoner Monk and you went first, what you would be able to do on that first turn is a lot. You can use that Summoner Monk, discard a spell card, summon out Thunder King Ryo, block out all of their plays. Or you can do something like this. You can go Summoner Monk, pitch a spell, get one of these dark monsters right here. All of your Gravekeepers are dark monsters. Overlay for either Crazy Box or Master Key Beetle over here, and side in and set your sided in Eradicator Epidemic Virus, so that when your opponent, the Prophecy player, draws a card, you can chain Eradicator Epidemic Virus, thus getting rid of basically his whole hand. So yeah, that's that's what's really broken about Summoner Monk. And Summoner Monk is just overall really good. It gets the deck some access into all of these rank 4 exceeds, and Summoner Monk is really cool. It's basically never dead simply because you have too many spells to discard. If you already have a Necro Valley on the field, and if you search a Necro Valley with Gravekeepers commanded, then you can just discard that extra Necro Valley, so it makes your Necro Valleys live. If you're going for special summoning instead of for Pot of Duality, then you can discard Pot of Duality, special summon whatever monster you want. And it's a dark target as well, so if you have an Allure of Darkness and you don't want to get rid of you don't necessarily want to get rid of a Descendant or a Recruiter or any of these guys, then you might consider getting rid of Summoner Monk. That's just my little spiel about Summoner Monk and how it basically helps make Gravekeepers speed up. Okay, so Gravekeepers, the reason why it's so slow is because it is a control-based deck. You play a lot of back row to get rid of high-level, high-attack monsters. And you have Necro Valley, and you basically play the Necro Valley game where you lock out all of your opponent's power plays. So if your opponent's playing Dragon Ruler, then they can't banish dragon monsters from the graveyard to special summon big dragons. If your opponent's playing Prophecy, they can't banish spell cards in order to activate that Spellbook of Fate. Well, they do have another out to it though. They can use the field card to place on top of your field card and thus being able to remove monsters, but that's why we side in extra things like Haiku and stuff. But other than that, Necro Valley blocks out cards that most decks run, like Monster Reborn. It blocks out decks that manipulate the graveyard. If they need to banish cards from the graveyard in order to play Chaos Dragons or stuff like that, Necro Valley also blacks that out as well. So Necro Valley is really good, and what makes Necro Valley even more broken is discard Royal Tribute. Royal Tribute, if you open up with Necro Valley and you have Royal Tribute, you're basically going to win that game if your opponent isn't playing some sort of Dark Worlds or a deck that really wants you to discard their whole hand. So yeah, if you go first turn, you have Commandant, discard Commandant, search Necro Valley, set all of your spell and traps, summon the monster you might have, and then use Royal Tribute. And from then on, you just have too much advantage and you just basically win. Against Dragon Rulers, that has happened before. I played that. I activated Necro Valley and I used Royal Tribute. And all of his dragon monsters that are currently in his hand got discarded into the graveyard. And on top of that, what happened was, since I do have Necro Valley, he can't banish dragons from the graveyard in order to special summon big dragons from the graveyard. So unless he gets rid of this Necro Valley, all of his dragon plays are dead. So Royal Tribute is definitely really, really cool. Okay, and another thing I like about the deck is that it is virusable. These monsters, these Gravekeeper monsters under Necro Valley are all 2000 attack, except for Gravekeeper's Recruiter and Gravekeeper Spy. But you can get Descendant, you can get Commandant, and they would be like over 2000 attack, and right away you'll have a target for Deck Devastation virus. And okay, if you want to get fancy, of course, you can summon out the Malefic Stardust, and you can chain Eradicator Epidemic virus onto it as well. Or if you have Summoner Monk, like I said, you can discard a spell, get one of these dark monsters, go for either Key Beetle or Crazy Box, depending on what you really want to go for, and just Epidemic virus that. And that's all I really need to say about this deck, right? Like, there's not that much that needs to be said about the extra deck or the side deck. Well, I will say one thing about the extra deck. I will say that Violon the Sigma is pretty good. Sometimes when you do have the ability to go for a rank 4 exceed with 3 level 4 monsters, and you're in a tight situation where Shockmaster doesn't do anything for you, where you need that offensive push, Violon the Sigma definitely helps. I suggest if you guys haven't heard about this card, try to check out this card. It's, I think, one of the best rank 4 exceed with 3 level 4 monsters. Other than that, there's nothing much needs to be said about this deck. If you have any questions, feel free to drop in the comment section down below. Other than that, this is Gary, gzduels, signing out.